So I just got home after a long work day, thinking and praying and writing about how I am supposed to do this interview and what words I need to say to actually get the message that I need to say across. About how much struggle there is in the disability community. How we are struggling to survive. We are on our last legs. We can't get enough. And I come home today, and my neighbor, who is disabled in a wheelchair, trapped because an elevator is broken, left me food on my doorstep because she heard that I am struggling. The disabled are doing more for the disabled than the able-bodied and those who have money and power. We have nothing to give, and yet you're giving so much. I have 2 bags of food here given to me by someone who is in just as bad of a position as I am, who is just as much struggling, just as sick, just as tired. And she is taking care of me. She should be worried about herself. I should be worried about myself. But we know what it's like to not have anybody try and worry for us. And we hate that loneliness. And that's why we share. That's why we do this. That's why I don't have any money and I'll still give my last $10 cash to a man on the street because he's my neighbor and he's been living there 5 years. And I can't put him in a house. I can't feed him for days, but I have $10 right this second in my pocket I can give to him. And there is a government that is more worried about tax breaks for CEOs and for any of us down here on the ground. And I'm thankful, I'm grateful to my dying day to be disabled, disenfranchised, and despised by this country because at least I have some honor and integrity. Where is the integrity in anybody who could do anything? Why are we leaning more on our disabled neighbors than we can on the people who said that they would be there for us? We voted them into places to help take care of us and themselves in the future. And what are they doing but destroying? And we are here trying to preserve what we have, being content with what we are given because we don't have other options. And still, we are in that desperation and we are sharing. Not because it's some communist bullshit, not because it's some holier than thou left idea. It's just human to be compassionate. It's human to be compassionate. It is not a radical thought. It's not a radical thought. Oh my God, You know what else isn't a radical thought? Being trans. If you've got problems with gender, sorry to go on a rant here, but if you've got problems with gender, you need to look inside yourself and wonder, why am I not content with being the bride of God, even if I was born genetically a cis man? If you are a Christian and you claim Christ, why do you not claim your groom? Why do you not claim that you are a bride of God? Do you not find value in yourself? Or do you see how brides are treated and you don't want to be associated with that? Do you assume God would treat his bride the same way that you have treated a nation, you have treated your disabled neighbor, your trans neighbor? Do you think God would treat you, his bride, that way, no matter what your gender, your color, no matter what? If you think that your God would be an abusive husband to you, the wife, the bride of God, you need to wonder what kind of men you've been looking at, and what type of fathers you've been raised by, and what type of leaders you have seen, because those aren't God. Those are not gods. Those are humans. Humans who've made mistakes. If you are a Christian, you are a bride of God, no matter what your gender is, no matter what you got in your pants, no matter what color you are, no matter what your hair looks like, no matter what tattoos you have, no matter what you have done to your body in the past, you are the bride of God. Act like it. Act like it. Because right now, you're behaving like the whore of Babylon. Destroying. Riding onto a beast that is doing nothing but laying waste. Do you want to be the whore of Babylon, or do you want to be the bride of Christ? Because right now, I am seeing Christ-likeness in my neighbor. I am seeing Christ-likeness in Cory Booker, of all people. I am seeing Christ-likeness in people I didn't think I would ever relate to. People who are standing up in town halls, who are getting arrested for their free speech. People who are accused of murder. We don't even know if they've actually done the crime. They haven't been given a chance at a fair trial. And yet, everywhere, I still see Christ-likeness. Despite everything. I see it in my neighbor. I see it in my coworker. I even see it in the man who called me slurs. I see it in the man who called me out and kicked me out. I see the Christ-likeness in all of it. Because Christ wouldn't have come here if there wasn't a need for it. So even in the bad moments, I see Christ-likeness, not in the other person, but in what I can do. Some of us need to actually start asking more of what would Jesus do. Not what would Jesus think, what would Jesus say, what would Jesus do? Follow the actions of what Jesus would do. Do you think for a second that Jesus would round up people and send them out of this country? Do you think that Jesus would give a shit what I have going on in my body, as long as I was not out there trying to destroy and harm and kill? Would he give a shit? I don't think he would. So why do you, bride of God, give so much of a shit about what I've got going on, about what your neighbor's got going on, about what your neighbor deserves or has earned? We're all human fucking beings. All of us. I don't know where we forgot that. You, watching this right now, you are a human being. You are a human being. You are alive, and you are inherently worth something, not because of anything you've done or anything you said, but because you fucking exist. Period.
That's it. That's it. You qualified to deserve those things because you were born. You were born, congrats, you earned it. Because you deserve to be treated with basic human dignity and respect. Like every human. Even the ones you don't like and you disagree with. Even the ones that you think are doing something horrible to their own body. I'm not trying to do it to you, bro. I am not trying to do it to you. The same way I'm not trying to pin you down and put tattoos and piercings in your body. I'm not trying to do it to you. The same way that I'm not telling you you can't eat beef or pork. I don't care what you got going on. So why the fuck do you care about what I got going on? Aren't you a bride of Christ? Aren't you a bride of Christ? So why the fuck do you care about me being a bride of Christ? Are we not all the brides of God? Are we? Or did I misread something? Did I? We are all loved and valued and cherished and appreciated. And I don't know where in the long line of history and cyclical abuses we lost that we have inherent value. But we do. It has nothing to do with money or status or where we are or our abilities or how we present ourselves. It has nothing to do with that. You have inherent value. No matter who you are or what you are or where your position might land you or what your finances may do for you, at the end of the day, we will all rot. We will all be bone. We will all turn to dust. And in the future, the anthropologists will dig up our bones and they will handle them with more care than we handled the living. And what will be remembered is not what we said, not the stories we told, not our lives, not our loves, not our genders, not our jobs. Those aren't things that will be remembered. What will be remembered when our bones are dug up and our bones are studied is the effects that the living had on the living. We will see how the living broke down the living, and that will be remembered. This kindness from a stranger who is also disabled will not be remembered. Not if we don't actually do something. I don't see that happening though. I don't see anything happening. I've had to become content and accept the very little and the dirty, dehumanizing, miserable little that I get. I have to be content with that. I have to. Because the alternative, what's cheaper than all of this? Killing myself. Killing myself is cheaper. Killing myself is a more... Killing myself would be the lesser of two evils if I could not become content with what little shitty I have. And I don't want to fucking die. So I became content with putting up with a living space that is toxic and has not been conducive to healing. I put up with work environments that, despite me getting strangled, didn't give me any time off to recover. Despite working myself to the bone, literally losing so much weight that people were worried for me because I was working so hard and yet I could not afford food and I could not do anything to take care of myself because I was trying so hard to make sure ends were meeting that I was bones and skin.
You look great. What are you doing for weight loss? Oh my goodness. Your jeans look really baggy on you.
I went through that. I was working myself to the bone because I needed to qualify for insurance because when I was strangled, it caused pain to my neck and my back. It took me a year working in that pain before I was able to say, hey, okay, let's work this out hour-wise so that I can actually qualify for insurance. Just for new management to come in, be refused to have meetings with that management so that we could actually work things out and I could qualify for insurance and I could get the bonuses that I needed so that I could feed myself. Only to learn there had been mistakes, there had been denied meetings, there had been no communication, and I was out more. I didn't have any insurance. I was down to almost I think it was 117 pounds. 117 pounds last year. That's not good. 117 pounds. Sobbing because I haven't been able to treat the pain from being strangled and attacked in my workplace, which I was working so hard so that I could get insurance so that I could treat that. But thank goodness I got fired. Because then I was able to qualify for insurance just for a month so that I could actually go to the chiropractor, so I could actually get approved for the treatment coverage that I needed so that I could start to fix my back. But I don't have that anymore. They took it away after a month because I earned too much gross rather than net. I got a question. How, if I need HIP plus because I am under these limits, right? If I'm that desperate for healthcare and you approve me, but then you base it off of my gross wages, and this is a program that is paid for from the tax dollars that I am paying, that's included in those gross wages, then why are those tax-paying dollars that I put towards the programs to support me not get excluded from seeing if I qualify if they help me? Oh, it's the way the policy is written by the insurance company. So it's not even anything the judge can do because the judge is just trying to follow the rules of those things, and legally the policy says it's based on gross. Explain to me how an insurance company legally is allowed to offer state-assisted health care, state-provided health care, but they only do it by calculating also with your taxes. I think it just makes a little bit more sense. Maybe I'm stupid, but I think it would make more sense that if somebody is so financially struggling that they need to apply for these things, maybe you look at the taxes that they're putting in and you go, okay, these are the taxes they're putting into all of these things, right? We're not going to include those. What are their takeaways? Because they don't have the tax money. We have the tax money to run the HIP Plus program. We have the tax money. So why are they basing if I get the assistance on the money that they have that's taken from me to help me with insurance that I don't qualify for anywhere else? Because I don't qualify for any other type of affordable insurance because I cannot afford a lawyer to help me with a person who abandoned me after saying they would be there in sickness and in health. Abandoned. But I cannot get any type of financial assistance because they legally are tied to me and I cannot afford to get them off. But because we are legally married, it doesn't matter that we never even lived in the same unit. I have to report what their wages are, despite the fact I've never seen a single cent of their money. They've seen plenty of mine, but they have not seen a single. I'm sorry. I'm going on a tangent. How to not want to kill myself? Explain. Explain. Give me something worth living for. You can't. Because I've already had to become content with the little shit that I have. Because that's all I got. And that's unfortunately all a lot of Americans got. And you want to know the worst thing? The absolute worst fucking thing. There are millions of Americans who know that they wouldn't be able to afford a fucking burial even if they did take themselves out. They wouldn't even be able to afford to be remembered. They would be cremated, made into dust, and lost to the winds and to time in a box. Because so many are alone. I have a friend right now who I don't know if he is alive or dead right now. I don't know. He posted 13 hours ago and he hasn't posted since. And I don't have a way of reaching out to him. He's been living out of his car for 2.5 years. And I've been watching him starve. And I don't know if when the sun rises tomorrow, he will rise with it. And I have to become content and accept that. Because it's happening every day. Not just to my friends, to your friends, to your neighbors, your siblings, your parents. And who is going to find my friend? And who is going to pay for his funeral? Or will he become dust in a box, locked in the back of some mortuary? What if that was me? Or you? Or your brother? Or your sister? Or your mom? Your kids? And this is what a mental breakdown looks like. Live in 4K. The horrible ringing LED lights that you can hear in the camera and I can hear in my brain, but nobody else can fucking hear with their ears. But it's the only light in the apartment. Unless I were to go and buy a shit ton of other lights for myself, which I can't afford. And we shame poor people for how they use what little itty bitty amount of money that they have. Why is it okay for the rich to have 3 cars, a nice house, a loaded fridge, a go-kart in the goddamn backyard, a full pool? And there are people out there who can't even get food. There are people out there who can't get food, whose disabled neighbors are doing more for them than the rich motherfuckers with 3 cars, 3 garages, a fucking huge house. And yeah, you did earn it. Congratulations, you did earn it. Wonderful. Do you feel fulfilled in your big house that's big and empty, bunch of stale air, your fancy crunchy countertops that you can clickety clack on. What are you doing with all that? Are you feeding anybody on that big island? Or is it just there to take up space? Are you sheltering anyone in that big home? Or is it there to take up space? Do you feel so empty you need your house to match? Do you feel so empty you have to try and fill it with things? And that's not helping. That's not helping. You know, if you did something fulfilling with your time, if you helped other people instead of helping yourself, you might actually feel a little bit better. Because when you don't have to work every single second to make sure that you get to live the next second, you have the opportunity to help so many other people. And you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing a bunch of Tesla driving fucks still driving around in their Teslas after a man heiled Hitler in a goddamn public political arena at a goddamn inauguration. You're still driving around that car that you could have turned in, you could have gotten some of your money back, and you could have actually helped people. And gotten yourself a nice car at the same time. You could have still driven around in a nice fancy little whatever. Just wouldn't be a Tesla. And you wouldn't be a horrible person. What makes you a person who's horrible is seeing where you could help and choosing not to. Seeing where you could be proactive and choosing inactivity anyway. That's what makes somebody a terrible person. That and actively destroying and dehumanizing and ruining. Those are the only things that could actually make you a bad person. But here's the thing. You're still a person. And even if you were a bad person, you would still deserve to not struggle to feed yourself and not worry what would happen to you if you were to lose everything. Because even if you are a terrible human, you deserve human empathy. And that's going to be a hard one for some people to swallow, and I get it. But guess what? We cannot teach the world anything if we are to do to others what they have done to us. We're not going to get anywhere if we finally catch Netanyahu and we kill him on a world stage. If we do not treat those who lack human empathy with human empathy, we are doing nothing but repeating the cycle. And yes, it is hard. It's not what they deserve. But remember what I said about you're human and you have intrinsic value because you are alive. It's not about what you deserve necessarily, because you have an inherent right to human decency. You deserve human decency. You deserve humanity, because you are human, even if you act like a monster. You are a human, even if you act like you are some otherworldly alien. You are a human, even if you are behaving in demonic ways. You are a human. You are a person. And you might deserve a lot, but you also deserve to be treated like a fucking human. Could we maybe start treating each other like some fucking humans?